welcome to another episode of the God is Geek podcast. My name is Chris White. Joining me this week are the magnificent Adam Carroll.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you know, I'll just give you a nice little introduction.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I've not spoken to you for a while, so this will be a nice chat. We've got Mr. Gary. Good. We've got Mr. Gary Bailey here as well.
I don't get any kind of magnificent though.
You might do, but I've spoken to you quite a bit, so
So he doesn't care anymore.
I'm done with you, to be honest. I love you too, Gary. I'm only joking. We've got some games we're talking about. The game chat is fairly limited because we're right in the middle of a little spell where games are being reviewed, but we can't talk about them. But you will get a nice fair amount of it over the next few weeks. I'm going to an event this week, which I'll be able to talk about more next podcast, so that'll be cool. But we're just gonna chat about a few games. We're gonna touch on Star Wars Celebration as well, and a couple of announcements that came out of that. But we'll start with you, Adam. So what have you been up to, mate? Anyway,
I'm playing that game that I'm just never going to beat still, and it's Sekiro. I know we've chatted about it quite a bit, but I'm still on it. I'm still really into it, and I know I think it was last week's episode, was it? Adam was saying he's kind of done with it. Are you done with it, Chris? Did you kind of? I barely started with it, mate. To be honest. Right.
I not that I find it's not a terrible game. It's not even a bad game. I love the game. I'm just no good at it, and I've just kind of come to accept it.
It's one of the most interesting game discussions so far this year for me, I think, because of how people are just genuine. Aside from all the making it easy and all this kind of stuff that's going on, there's another side where people are just a bit do you know what? I just don't really think I have the energy to go through this, and in ways I can totally relate, but there's something about this still that I keep going back to. Now it is a great game. We've been through all that, but so I won't say the boss's name, but I was fighting this particular boss, and I mean, I died a lot, right? I died a lot during this fight, and this fight was, in my opinion, this actual fight is just brilliant. I think it's an absolutely fantastic fight. It's just done really well, and it feels really epic. And do you know the way you have those two little dots? I got rid of them. I beat this guy. And then the game just surprisingly, this boss had a third form. And I just went, that's just really fucking unfair. Because I've been so long at this particular boss, and then I beat it, and I felt so joyous. And that is where I'm going to say that particular point, that's one of the worst parts of the game for me. I don't care. It's just one of those things that I'm if there's a third form, don't make it a surprise. I don't need any surprises here. This game is not about surprises. This is about accomplishments, and I felt like I did it, and then the game just went, no, you're going to do this. And then when I died, Adam brought up the point last week about checkpoints or something, if checkpoints existed even, just for that kind of moment, it's well, you've gotten through the two main parts of it, and the surprise moment, maybe it's a bit unfair to just kill you straight away now because you're going to have to go through all that again. And that is unfair. That is straight up super unfair. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not asking for an easy mode. Even if there was an easy mode, cool. I'm not bothered by that either. This moment was just unfair because I didn't get an opportunity. I was after using all my health stuff. I was down to literally piss all health, and this thing happened, and then I just kind of went, I can't even get the opportunity to figure out this next form. I'm dead. I'm dead within 5 seconds. I'm so now I have to go through it all again. And the thing is, do you know when you get handed a level of disappointment like that in a game, and the game actually mentally starts beating you? Now when I'm going through that, now that I knew or no, like after figuring out that there was a third form, when I went back then to go over it again, I was dying all over again in like the first two like parts, because I was so like drained from knowing that I didn't beat him. I was like, oh Jesus, I'm still having to go through it. Like, I do want to finish this game, and I'm getting on grand with it. Like, I'm getting on good with it. And to be fair, I there's moments where I sit down, I play, and I get far, and it feels brilliant. But there's just other games I want to play now, and I'm just getting. That's the stage I'm at. I'm just like, I need to move on to a new game. And
yeah, I do want to try out a Sekiro at some point, but the stuff people are telling me, and like that point I've heard before about like the boss suddenly get a third sort of form, even though he didn't have it on his health bar. That just puts me off, because I think like the other games, like the Souls games, Bloodborne, that kind of, they got away with having like extra forms because it never gave you, they had a boss bar, you got it down, and it's like, all right, here's another form. That's cool. It's like, okay, I can kind of get that. But when it's telling you like this boss has got like the two, I don't know what they're called in this game probably, but essentially like the two death blows, the killing blows kind of thing. It's got that. You take those down, you beat him, and then it's like, no, I'm gonna carry on fighting. That just sounds like, I hate to say it because people will hate me for it, but it sounds like shit design, like really bad design.
I actually agree with you. I agree with you completely on it, because I do think like the difficulty in the game, it is hard, but I struggled way more with other games like that it would from software. Like, I just have. Like, this is why I'm very interested to see you actually giving it a shot, because you're not really a fan of Bloodborne and stuff, but like, I just want to see how you'd get on with it, because I do think it is that little bit more accessible, dare I say, but at the same time, when it does that, like, why would you put that in there? Like, why? Like, it is just poor design. I don't have patience for this. I've fucking sweated like so much to get those two death blows, and I did, and then it's like, no, I understand it's kind of funny. It's like, I saw it happen to one of my friends who's playing it, and like he was fighting a particular boss for quite some time, and then that thing happened, the third form, and we were laughing because we just thought like it was just so funny how relentless it just was to you. Yeah. And then he just died, and then just the fun is sucked out of it, and the satisfaction. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's I know it sounds negative, but I like what this game is about, and I can play it pretty well. But then that happens, and I'm like, oh shit, because I'm just not a person that can beat a boss first time. Like, I just can't. I'm nowhere near that good within these games. Like, there's people out there who can just destroy a row of bosses in one go. I have to die because I have to learn this enemy's way. Yeah. So I'm just playing that, but I also want to just quickly mention, Adam was talking about Final Fantasy VII on the Switch. I picked that up as well, and it kind of bugs me in a way, right? Because Final Fantasy IX is my all-time favorite of the series, and I think that on the Switch is something like €22, and then this one is I think $15.99 or something like that. And I don't know why, because I've heard, like, I know Final Fantasy IX is supposed to run pretty well on the Switch, but apparently it has a couple of issues, and then 7 is supposed to be pretty good. Like it runs really well. So I was kind of like, I haven't played 7 in a long time. I'll give it a shot. The real factor here was like of me wanting to play it again was the 3 times the speed kind of thing that's put in. That's just an absolute blessing. Like I went back, I'd say maybe 3 years ago, I booted up Final Fantasy VII on my Vita, and that's just the standard like port or whatever, and oh god, that game is so slow. It is so like it to the point where nobody would have the patience for this anymore unless you're truly a gigantic fan of that game or the series or just JRPGs in general. But like, it is just way too slow, and this 3 times the speed thing is amazing, along with just turning off random battle encounters is so good as well, because like, you know how it is in these kind of games, you know, you're just like literally like your toes are on the doorstep of the next area, and then comes in.
Yeah,
like, oh,
I remember that playing through 7, and you're just like, oh, for the love of God, just let me get there.
Yeah, it's just, you get the motion blur, and then the camera does the pan around for the battle, and you're like, look lads, it's not impressive anymore, I don't care. And then the music is just going dun, 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 and you're like, come on. So like turning that thing off when you know, like, okay, I just want to kind of like get around this area and get through here is great. Like, aside from that, the game is still fantastic. It's still actually like, it's so playable now with those features. And anybody that has never played it before, I think this is probably the definitive version to get, just because of those features being put into it. Thoroughly enjoying it. It's just making me so curious about the remake. Do you know? I just don't know where or how they're like. I don't know. It's so, there's so much to like. There's so many things to be answered regarding that remake. I'm
not sure that'll ever actually surface, you know, because it just, they've mentioned it multiple times. They've gone, oh look, there's this kind of screenshot stuff that they showed, like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah,
and it's like, where are you? Because then after showing those screenshots, there was advertisements like, oh yeah, we're now looking for staff to make this come to life. And you're like, wait. So you're not even that far in. How long has this been in development? I'm not sure it'll happen. Yeah,
like, there is definitely that kind of thing to discuss, but at the same time, like, I've been thinking about this in my head, like, while playing this Switch version, and I've been kind of like, are they just maybe, like, I'd like to think that it's going to happen, but is their silence just on purpose? Because no matter what they'll probably put out there as like, here's a teaser or here's a bit of gameplay, like, they're just going to get probably some sort of abuse for it in some way.
There's going to be hatred.
There's going to be hatred. So are they just doing the right thing and avoiding it, and then just going,
quite possibly,
like, here we go lads, here's the first episode or whatever, if they're still going to stick to that episodic idea, I don't know. Because even that alone, like, saying that early days made everyone go, oh Jesus, what's going on here? Do you know? And from day one it was already getting like shat on, you know. So I just hope it nails it, because there's a lot of like just really wonderful kind of moments that I just remember when I first played the game when it got released, and I hope those little touches still exist. But other than that, like, just those two games for now. I'm kind of moving on to other things. I'm playing Borderlands 2 as well, but I'll talk about that the next time. But yeah, that's all for now.
Have you got a VR, PSVR?
Do I have? No, I don't. I still don't, believe it or not.
Borderlands 2 on VR is immense. Like,
yeah.
So I just wondered, because like that's one of the best VR kind of titles for me, just because it's essentially you're in that world. Yeah, and they're like the kind of accessibility for different, because obviously VR can affect people differently, so there's so many options to change like the motion blur and all this kind of thing to make it fit how you play. Like, you could essentially play it with your control and move in exactly like you would if you're playing the game, because that's how I tended to play it, and it didn't affect me at all. But obviously some people might be affected by that kind of movement, so there's a lot there, but that's really good. But I'm
man, even just mentioning the VR, I'm kind of like, I really still want the VR, but I just feel it's just going to eventually just sit there on my shelf, and I'll probably not go near it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't think, you know what, I'm going to set up the PSVR and play on something. I very rarely would do that.
But can I just say there, right, is that maybe one of its biggest issues is the setting up? Because there's not much to it as such, but there's still a bit. Do you know what I mean?
There's a fair 5 minute 10-minute setup, depending if making sure, you know, because there's so many wires. There's every now and again one piece of hardware might not have been plugged in correctly or at the right time, and it can affect the headset or the power or something like that, or the HDMI. So it is a pain in the arse, but I'm sure that's something they're going to sort, when the PS5 finally gets announced. Like, a wireless headset will be incredible.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's kind of like a conversation I think that's quite interesting. I know we're kind of sidetracking, but like...
mate, it's all games. It's all games.
Yeah,
I would like to know whoever has like a VR, if like our listeners are in that same boat where, sometimes I look at it and go, geez, I should play it, but I don't really want to set it up now. I couldn't be bothered. Because like the titles, like whatever I've played in the VR has been amazing, and I want to play that Astrobot game, and I want to try Tetris and stuff. There's still quite a few titles I'd love to try, but I do think that like if I had it, I'd be like, I couldn't be bothered. But if it was just a case of putting it on your head and off you go, then that'd be a game changer, really.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
just lazy bastards, really, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah. But that's what technology is, comfort for people that can't be asked. So, but yeah. So we've to tie in with the kind of Switch ports. Gaz, you've been playing Darksiders.
Yes.
So you can be free to tell us exactly how you feel about it without any judgment, because I haven't played it on Switch, and neither has Mr. Carroll, I don't think. So.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
it's kind of how ports are supposed to be, I think, for the Switch, because it runs like mostly well. It's got the two sort of abilities you've got the ability to switch between performance mode and graphics mode. So like performance mode, you're getting mostly sort of 60 frames per second, and it looks more or less like the 360 and PS3 version did. Okay, yeah. Or if you stick it in like graphics mode, it looks... Obviously, it doesn't look quite as good as like the PS4 and Xbox One version, but the textures are noticeably better. It just runs sort of like 20 frames a second. It's like 20 to 30, but it tends to stick more towards the 20-25 from what I can gather looking at it. But it plays really well, and yeah, I love just sort of dipping in for a little bit, because although the checkpoint system was never that great, because it was the same as like the old Zelda games, if you quit out, you're probably going to be at the beginning of the dungeon rather than where you were. Which that's kind of what it, without revamping the entire save system, which I imagine will probably be quite a big job.
Yes. Yeah.
It's as good as a port can be, I think, given the power of the Switch.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that if you've not played it before and this is your first attempt, you're still going to get a great version of the game. You're not going to be missing out on anything. Yeah. But yeah, it was great to play that game again, to be honest, because I love Darksiders. I think it's the first one in particular, I think, has such a strong story. And
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was just great to play it again, just to see like Samael and stuff like that, because he's such a good character.
I've never finished the first one at all. And I've by finished, to be honest, I've only played like the opening maybe 3 hours. I'd say 3 times.
Wow. Yeah, that's like a tiny portion, because it's like a 15 to 20 hour game.
Yeah. The only thing is that like people keep saying, it's like, because you like Zelda and stuff, it has these kind of elements of a Zelda game, and every time I've played it, I don't know, I don't feel or see that. Maybe that's because I've only played 3 hours, but
I don't get that feeling from it at all.
It uses the same sort of ideas. It's the same sort of dungeon layouts kind of thing. And like you've got some of the like the weapons and the items that you get are very, like, one is basically the boomerang from Zelda, that kind of thing. It's like an homage, but it's not like a clone, which I think is what people sometimes get a bit confused by. Like, oh yeah, it's like Zelda. It's like, it sort of is, it's a bit like, it's like the old 3D Zeldas, so like the Ocarina sort of stuff. If you try and compare it to like Breath of the Wild, it's just it's not even close to that sort of style. So I do see the comparisons, but I think some do take it that little bit too far.
Okay.
But I do think it's very much worth playing if you ever do feel like sitting down and playing playing it for a few extra hours. I can't say a few hours because you've already done that several times by the sound of it.
It's just it's one of the most annoying things is when you've started a game like 2 or 3 times, and you just got into the same area, to knowing that the game is supposed to be great, and you've kind of just fucked it for yourself, and that's kind of what I've done. I've just kind of, because I just keep thinking of the fucking 3 hours now and the city at the start and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, do I have to go through all that again?
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, I would say if you've played a few hours and were happy with it, we
very
recommend it.
Wow.
Boom!
Wow.
That was actually very good.
We happy few DLC. Gaz, I mean we've kind of gone on about this game quite a bit, and when the review came out, you weren't particularly happy with it, but the DLC is out now, and it seems to, after reading your review of it, seems to kind of corrected a few of the issues of the first one. So, what's it like?
Let's say it's like when it was first announced and they showed a bit of like the concept stuff, it was basically like, shit, this looks like BioShock. You had that sort of feel to it where it looked like it was going to be a cool story, and it had like the nice setting, the interesting art style, that kind of thing. And when the actual game came out, it was basically this survival thing. Well, they did the early access thing, didn't they? And that was basically a survival thing. And it was just like, oh, this is a bit... And then they're like, oh, no, we're putting in a story and stuff. And they did, and it was still basically a survival game just with shit tacked on. And it just didn't feel that great to play most of the time. Whereas the DLC feels like that sort of BioShock style game that they originally looked to be giving us. So you start off in like a dream, like the character you're on is having this dream of like robots coming out of the ground and sort of trying to kill everyone in Wellington Wells, the place from the original game. And you sort of wake up and you're actually playing as one of the characters that was like in a side story from the main game as well. Yeah. It was kind of like a brief little story of this doctor that had kind of gone missing and the 2 guys that were looking for that kind of thing. And you're basically seeing that story. Like the one of the first things you see is her disappearing through this portal, and then you get the 2 guys kind of bickering over what to do. And there's a nice sort of like dynamic between the 2, because there's obviously something between them. That was hinted in the main game as well. Anyway, there's obviously like a relationship going on between these 2 guys, but there's like this weird dynamic where neither of them seems to be acknowledging it. I think that's because of the setting. It was like if these guys were openly gay, that just would not have worked in that setting. People would have. We'll leave the politics alone. There's a bit of a nasty thing there, but as you go through and you're looking for the doctor, and there's a bit more of you see a bit more of this dynamic between the more they talk, the more they sort of acknowledge it a bit more. But the gameplay, it's more linear. I think that's one of the best parts about it. There's none of this kind of wandering around aimlessly like there was in the main game, and you don't have to do any of the survival stuff. It's more about just staying alive by not getting killed by robots, which you can kind of relate. And it's kind of more of a shooter as well, because you have a gun, or it's a ray gun. Everything's kind of looks like an old like 40s or 50s sci-fi, like with big chrome robots and stuff like that. It's very tongue in cheek, and there's kind of like an undercurrent of the robots thinking for themselves and that kind of thing. And there's quite a bit of mystery to the story, and it works out quite well by the end. Obviously, without spoiling anything, I'm not going to tell you anything specific. But as I was saying, the gameplay, the gun that you get also kind of doubles as a melee weapon. which is quite cool. And you upgrade it as you go. And like one of the upgrades is as you swing like the melee version, it recharges the gun. So you can it's almost like reloading it quicker, which is quite cool. I liked that mechanic. But I mean, yeah, I just think it was the game that I wanted from We Happy Few in the first place. And so it's one of the... it was about... I want to say it was about 3 hours. Okay. Which, I mean, I think it's about £7 or £8 on Steam. Yeah. So that's not bad. Like, you know, for a few... And there are a few secrets that I missed as well, because there's, like, little extra bits that you're reading notes and things like that along the way, sort of fleshing out the story a bit more. Some of them are hidden away, so I know I've not found them all, but I found a few. So I imagine you could get another hour or so out of it as well. There's not much, there's not really much in terms of replayability. There is kind of almost like there is a second ending. I don't want to say much more than that. So, I mean, there is replayability, but the game itself doesn't really change if you play it again. You know, you're not really doing anything different. You'll just be able to go through it quicker. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I do think it's really good. If it's one of those things that I couldn't say to people, oh, buy We Happy Few now and then buy the DLC, because that'd just be stupid. But if you still have We Happy Few, you didn't trade it or whatever, then, you know, by all means, I think it's worth picking up this DLC. I think they've put in the time. I think it shows, it shows they've listened to feedback from like the players, and they've gone, right, this is what they've wanted. Here it is. What do you think? And I personally think it's really great. Worth looking at.
Cool. So we're gonna end by talking about, well, not the podcast. We've still got all the list of correspondence, but just the game chat with the Star Wars Celebration that happened the weekend. Obviously, we got the fantastic new trailer for the final installment of the Star Wars saga called The Last Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Rise, Last, Return, Revenge. And I mean, I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think of it? The trailer.
Oh, I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm in.
Good.
But it's. I was saying this, like, you could just put up the credit title screen and I'd just be like, yeah, brilliant, I'm sold. Like, I'm just always, there's something about, well, it's always been there with Star Wars, but I think when Force Awakens came out, I think it just seemed to just explode Star Wars to this, like, don't get me wrong, it's always been there, that explosion has been there. But when Force Awakens, everyone was just super, super, super pumped in for, like, everything Star Wars. But, like, this one just looks great. Like, instantly, like, I just saw it and I went, yeah, I'm so ready for this. She's just standing there, like, and I was like, what's happening here? And it just looked banging, and there's so much to, like, talk about, and just give it to me now, do you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I mean, it really highlights how far Rey's come as well, because that whole scene is insane. Like from when we first saw her in Force Awakens to now, like when she's running away from that TIE Interceptor and then she leaps up, and it's the way the trailer. It's like the music has always been a massive part of Star Wars, but it's just so powerful. And now, because the piece of music that plays right near the start is Leia's theme, and now we know what happened to Carrie Fisher since, it makes it even more kind of emotional. And like, just the way they're going with it, it feels very much like very grounded. It's kind of not gone back to basics, but like there's a lot that's happening on, I'm assuming it's Jakku, but it could be Tatooine. We don't really know. Where like there's the scene with Finn and Poe Dameron, and C-3PO getting shot at. There's the bit at the start with Rey. I don't know. And then like the bit at the end with spoilers, the Emperor. My God. That was cool. Yeah. I'm well up for that.
I don't know if that's like a red herring kind of thing. It's like we've put it in, but he's not actually going to return.
Well, JJ at the celebration, JJ said that Ian McDiarmid's playing Emperor Palpatine in it, so he's definitely in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, because he basically
Force Ghost.
at the celebration they played the trailer and then it stopped, and then Ian McDiarmid came out, picked up the microphone and said, "Play it again," and then they played it again. Like they know how to get fans hard.
Yeah, I think,
and it worked.
Yeah, I think what my thing was like The Force Awakens was. I think that's what everyone wanted from a new Star Wars film. It felt like the originals. It had, I don't know. It was a fun action film. You know, a lot of adventure, and then I mean, I don't agree with the hate for The Last Jedi, but it was a misstep. I think Rian Johnson, was the wrong choice. I think he went a bit too far, like his own direction. You know what I mean? It's like he just wanted to make his Star Wars film. It didn't matter if it basically shat on any of the other story, which it seemed to almost do. He almost willfully went out of his way to, just kind of any of the points that were raised in Force Awakens, he kind of wanted to just stomp on them and go, no. I mean,
there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in that one that. There's a lot of stuff I love, and then there was just a lot of stuff that I really didn't like.
See, oh no, go on, mate. I'll give you my theory.
Just as time, like I do remember coming out of The Last Jedi and just being like, yeah, that was great, but that was just me, the kind of like just being biased about the whole thing, going, oh, there can't be another bad Star Wars movie ever, can there? And you're just trying to like not like let it kind of bring you down because it was so exciting going into it. Like, I don't know, my biggest, I was saying this the other night, but my biggest like issue with that movie, and spoilers if you haven't seen it, because if you haven't seen it then you just don't like Star Wars, and that's that. But that opening scene with Luke and stuff, like that's forever going to be tarnished now with the ending of Force for me, because of how that just plays out, where he just throws the saber away, and it was just a real like, what were you thinking there? Because it's just like that was such an amazing moment at the end of Force. Like it was just so like they could have literally went, Force Awakens comes out day one, and the next day they could have went, tickets are on sale now for fucking Last Jedi, and you'd be like, pre-order straight away, because it was just that exciting. And then I know people like are against the whole like Leia flying through space. I don't mind that.
I liked that, because it was
I
always
didn't mind that at all.
The whole thing was she was Force sensitive because she was a Skywalker, basically. And she had that. It was always known. So when it actually happened, and people were like, why? I don't get this. Why is she Supermaning across? Like, well, she can use the Force.
Yeah.
Well, this is it, right? This is my thing, because I watched The Last Jedi and I came out feeling weirdly disappointed, and I wasn't sure why. And then the more I thought about it, and I watched it again, a good 6 months after, and watching it again, I was able to absorb it more, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I did. And it's with the Leia thing, and with the training that Rey gets, and the fact that Kylo Ren says your parents weren't anybody, which I still maintain that's going to be the thing. Like, she came from nothing, and I think the concept that Rian Johnson created will follow through, and I appreciate it a bit, because the Force isn't about Jedis and the Sith. It isn't about good versus evil anymore, and it isn't about the Skywalkers. I believe Rise of Skywalker pertains to what the Force has evolved into, and the fact that anyone that finds this balance are Skywalkers. I feel like it's now going to be a term used for anyone that's found balance with the Force, like Rey. And I think that's kind of the direction they're going, because like at the end of The Last Jedi, that kid kind of uses it. I think it's anybody that can use the Force in this way, and it's kind of gone past what we're all so familiar with. And I think that might have been what I was disappointed in, the fact that it wasn't she wasn't a Skywalker, or it wasn't about the Skywalkers who have dominated the story, which is amazing, and like they're still like they're always going to be the best Star Wars films, the original. But I appreciate it more knowing what they're trying to do, or what I think they're trying to do with the ending to this, is that it's more of an ideal or more about this Force as opposed to any one particular character. And I think like Leia, she's a Skywalker, but she's not a Jedi, but she managed to harness the Force or this whatever it is, this power to kind of do that. So I'm stoked for it. I think it looks amazing. It'll be good. And JJ did a great job with Force Awakens. Like, even if the plot is practically the same as Star Wars: A New Hope,
but that's the thing, man.
But like, it doesn't matter, does it?
No,
it doesn't. No, like, because I came out of Force like just going, yeah, you can say it's basically A New Hope, but I don't know, man. There was something about Force that just grabbed me big time. Like I fell in love with BB-8 and Kylo Ren. Like, I just
oh god, yeah.
Like, I just loved it. I was like, yeah, and like, I don't know. It just opened up all these new actors and stuff as well that like I now just see as these characters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Adam Driver is just going to be Kylo Ren to me, like, and that's just that. And he's so good at doing this kind of role. I cannot wait. I do hope this new one is just full of like emotional kind of stuff. I'm just up for just being like shook with like Star Wars moments. Like, I know the comedy is really fun as well. But I just want to be totally on the edge of my seat going, holy smokes, I can't believe this is going on. So excited for it. Yeah, it's gonna be ace. So also, this is where the games come in. It has been announced there is a new single player game made by Respawn, who are obviously behind Titanfall, Modern Warfare 2, and recent mind-blowing successful even Apex Legends. And it's called Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And it's coming out. Is it coming out in November, or is that?
Yeah, it's 15th of November.
Yeah. So we didn't really see. There's no gameplay, is there? It's more.
Yeah, it's all like
the
in
cinematic
engine
story, right? So the idea behind it is cool. I'm up for that. I'm up for the game. Like, the idea that they've made this game is brilliant, because we know they can make a fantastic game. And like the fact that they kind of goes from the prequels up until like Star Wars and like the first Star Wars and beyond, it's a good concept. But like I'm kind of my only thing is the kind of protagonist is the most vanilla character you could possibly have. I would love to have seen like an alien race, like Ashoka Tano from the Jedi, or she's like a Togrutan, and then there's the Twi'leks, or we've seen so many kind of humans as Jedis that it would have been nice to get a game which like just didn't feature this dull kind of human, and they've kind of already done that with Luke, and I don't know, it's a very minor issue with it. Like, the game will probably be amazing, but it would have been nice to see something else. But I mean, what do you guys think?
I totally do agree with you there with the main protagonist. Like, we have to just obviously see more of this character, but I'm with you so far on that. There's a lot to say about Respawn being a part of this, because of just like their credibility so far. It's been fantastic, and they've delivered very, very tight games and stuff, and it's all been going well so far. But there's a part of me in thinking that if Respawn like weren't like doing this, would we all be just saying, oh, they're only like, because there's going to be no multiplayer, no microtransactions, none of that shit. This is just all like a single player game. So in my head, it's like, if Respawn weren't doing it and it was somebody else that, like, you know, released a couple of games that like are kind of well received here and there, would everyone be just kind of saying that this is just EA's attempt of trying to redeem themselves with the likes of the microtransactions and all that stuff, and saying, oh no, we can do this? Because the single player side of it is completely my bag. Like, I'm all about this. I'm just a single player video game player, and if the multiplayer stuff was there, then it'll kind of be a little bonus, but I think there'd be too much focus put on it. That's why, with this coming out, I just hope. I do think the game is going to be great, because with it being a third-person game, and like going off the back of that trailer, there seems to be a lot of like you can do the wall running and stuff that Respawn do.
Oh, God,
They had to have that in it, didn't they?
Yeah, you know, they put that in Titanfall and stuff. And then there's apparently going to be a big kind of thing surrounding upgrading your lightsaber and combos and all that kind of jazz, which sounds kind of cool. Because I'll be honest, like, I didn't mind the Force Unleashed at all. Like,
the first one was great.
God,
the second one was
fantastic.
the garbage one.
you know, I had fun. And I think up to this point, Star Wars games visually look amazing. Like, I think, like, even like Battlefront and stuff, they're amazing looking. They're just, they're missing, like, the sound and everything. They've accomplished all that kind of stuff. We just need a really, really, really good, like, campaign. I think people would appreciate it. My only thing is, I really, really hope this game isn't going to be like 5 or 6 hours long. Now, I know people are going to be like, but I want that because that's where I'm at in my life now and I don't have time to play these big games. To me, it has to be at least 15 to 20 hours in my head, because I just want this in-depth game. And if there's a lot of upgrading and stuff, because like Titanfall 2, for example, is incredibly short. So like, I just hope it doesn't... I hope it's not lacking in that sense.
I don't think they would, because like Titanfall 2 had a multiplayer. Battlefront, I know this isn't what Respawn, but Battlefront 2 had a multiplayer, and like I'd love to see like the campaign of Titanfall 2, but times by 5. And the fact that it's third person, it's got RPG elements to it. I won't be surprised if it's 20 plus.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What was the one that BioWare did? The really famous Star Wars game. Years ago. Didn't BioWare do like a Star Wars game? Oh yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, so that's like I've never played that one, but it's supposed to be incredible, right? Yeah. If there is these RPG mechanics, like, it would be kind of mental if they came out and said that's how deep it's going. Like how would you feel if the game came out and it was like a 40-hour long game? Like, would you be actually ready? Like, because I think that would make everyone go mental, especially Star Wars heads. Like, because then it just feels so much more again, because you're just going to be getting all this like probably crazy lore and stuff. Like, that would blow my mind if that happened. But at the same time, if it came out, as I said, to just like 15-20 hours, I'd be like, brilliant, this is going to be a great action game probably, and have little bits with your lightsaber upgrades and stuff like that. But I'm really excited. The trailer looks cool again. Like, I just hope it just works out, and I hope like there'd be something. It would be absolutely hilarious, not on Respawn's part, but like if this game came out and it had like all these issues, you'd be like, Jesus, EA, like, what is going on? Like, what is going on with your games? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Gaz, how are you feeling about it?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I mean, I'm interested to see that I forget his name. Is it Callum something? The dude who's like the main character. He's in Gotham.
Cal. Yeah, it.
Cal Kestis.
I think that's the character's
I meant
name,
the actor's name, but I think you're right on the name of the character though. Well done.
Well done him. He's on Google.
I'm currently looking at my phone. Well done, phone.
But I mean, I'm interested to see what he can do. But I want to see a game like Jedi Knight, and this has the potential. Like, it's almost like not a reboot of the series, but like a reimagining possibly of the old Jedi Knight style. And I mean, let's say it is like a 15 to 20 hour game. It kind of has the potential to be maybe like the first 5 hours or so is him trying not to use the Force. You know what? He's basically like, say he does end up. Yeah, I mean, it's like you might end up in an action situation, but it's like, no, I'm going to have to use a gun or something. You know, just being forced not to use the Force, which is a weird way of saying it. But moving on. Yeah, it's. I want to see something like, because Jedi Knight did that. You know, it'd be the very first Jedi Knight. He didn't know he could use the Force, if I remember right. So it's like the beginning was him just doing missions, you know, and him running around with a gun. And then he learned like he could use the Force, and he started using a lightsaber, and you could kind of switch between the two. So
that's great and all, but then at the same time, that's where, like, with Respawn doing it, like, how many people would be up for that if they started playing this one and then it was like, oh, fucking 4 or 5 hours, all I want is a lightsaber, for God's sake, come on.
I'm happy with that if it's like a long game. Like, I'd be happy to do that if they could build a story well and build the character, because at the minute he's very plain. So if they give him some decent kind of progression, I'm well up for that.
Yeah, because Respawn, like, are known for just action, like, so far. Like, you know, they just want to get you straight into it and just, here you go, here's all this amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean, guys.
I want a new Star Wars game, just in general. I think, like, a proper Star Wars story, because Battlefront 2 had a good story. I think it kind of, I wish it went in a different direction without spoiling it, because there's some people that won't have played it, but I do think it still had a decent story. But
it's a good idea behind it, definitely.
Yeah, it was a bit too short, and to be fair, I've not played, like, they did the free, like, epilogue DLC, but I've not played that yet. But it felt a little bit too short. So if this game did come and it was sort of 15, 20 hours, I'd be well happy. You know, just give me a big new Star Wars game. Yeah,
put proper effort into it.
Yeah.
You know, work your arse off, you know, do or do not. There is no try. So,
very nice.
There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. List of correspondence now. First off, Mark Duncliffe, at Duncliffe on Twitter. Who would play you in a movie?
Oh, I read that question completely wrong. No, I thought it meant, who would you play in a movie? Who would play me in a movie? Who would want to play me in a movie?
A lot of people. You're a lovely chap.
It'd be very boring anyway.
See, I reckon someone like Chris Hemsworth would play me. Because clearly, I'm a big, beautiful man, obviously. I have no idea who would play me in a movie.
All I'm thinking of so far, anyway, is Greengrass from Bellicus Angel or Heartbeat or something.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, it's the first person that came into my head with a big beard, anyway. So Greengrass fella.
This is a tough one. It's a very good question, though, because it's thrown us all off. None of us know.
I'd like Robin Williams if he was still with us.
Good choice.
I like I feel like I have an awkward, like, personality sometimes. Like, I reckon he'd be able to portray that quite well. But yeah, or Steve Carell, just because I fucking love Steve Carell. For no other reason.
Who would play? I just want to know who. I want to know Gaz's answer.
I'd like, because I feel like Curb Your Enthusiasm is Gaz when he's grown up, like just a cynical, grumpy man. So I feel like it's already been made.
Excellent.
So Greengrass, the guy who plays Greengrass for Adam. Nice.
Yeah,
Larry David for Gary. Robbie Williams for me. Favourite sweets from David Ayres at David Ayres on Twitter. So, easy for me. Reese's Pieces.
But see, this is what I was going to say. Are they sweets? Because there's a thing about this, right? Sweets to me are like Starburst and like jelly beans and.
Well, I was just kind of thinking confectionery, to be fair. However, David, if you want a specific answer as to sweets, I kind of like.
Sleep.
No, I kind of like twin cherries. Like non-fizzy.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Like twin cherries. Or there used to be these sweets when I was growing up, which I've not found since. And they were like 2p for one, and they were like beer bottles, but they weren't like cola bowls. They were like a lot floppier and longer, and they looked like a tankard of beer, and they were they were fantastic. So yeah. Old school.
I'm
then.
sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around with a lot floppier and longer.
What?
Take that out of context.
Jesus.
Title.
Yeah, yeah, that's got to be. I don't know, I think for me it'd be something like Jelly Babies. I used to love like the old school Jelly Babies. They were just so sugary. I can't have that shit now. I'm old and just doesn't work anymore.
You actually kind of can, man. Like, because they're not as. They've taken a lot of that stuff out. Like when we were young eating those sweets, our faces were being blown off. Like some of those fizzy things used to just like my cheeks used to be on fire. Like it was so sour. I'm gonna have to say straight up, if there's the sweets things throw me off, so I'm gonna just basically say if I'd pick sweets, it'd be like Dolly Mixture. I like Dolly Mixture a lot. I enjoy them.
Oh yeah.
But overall, my favorite ever is like just plain M&Ms. Just think they're absolutely banging. And I eat them in a weird way. I eat them sideways.
Okay.
Do you ever eat your M&Ms sideways?
What?
No,
what do you mean?
It's kind of like you put one in your mouth and you turn it sideways.
But
do you know, like if you put down an M&M flat, right, that's just eating an M&M. But if you put in the M&M sideways and like crack it with the side of your mouth, like from like the edge downwards, no, do you not do that, lads?
Can't imagine
I don't, but I get what you're saying.
Pringle sandwiches. Are you a fan?
Oh no, crisper sandwiches, no. It's just no. No,
and that's
sorry, mate.
the end of that chapter.
Always food, isn't it? It's always a food.
I love food. We all
Speaking
love
of food questions,
food changes the game.
Our Master and Commander, Mr. Adam Cook, has left a message for a question for us. He's so keen to get this off the ground. He's so keen to get this off the ground, and I'm behind him on this. But should the team do a Patreon-only taste test series where they try food and drink oddities? And if so, where would each member draw the line? I don't think if we're filming it, I don't think I would. I think I'd try anything just for laughs.
Would you really try anything?
I think, yeah, it's not edible. Like if somewhere in the world eats it, I'd probably eat it. I wouldn't eat if there's some weird place that eats like ferret shit as a delicacy, then I'm not going to eat shit. But if it's an actual food, I probably would. Yeah.
So you basically just said that you'd try a Pringle sandwich.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If that's part of the week, but it's not exactly thrilling, is it? It's not
needs to happen.
Scorpion or because I was looking on Amazon and they sell like chocolate scorpions, which have got scorpions in covered in chocolate. Like I'd eat that shit. I'd want to. Yeah.
Would you eat
to be fair,
frog's legs? Oh.
I'd eat frog's legs. I'd tell you where I kind of draw the line: testicles and eyeballs. But I would still try them. Testicles. Well, they do it on So I'm a Celebrity, don't they? And they testicles like sweet. What are they called? There's a name for it. Sweetbread.
Sweet testicles.
No, they're called sweetbreads, and they're like lambs and testicles and all sorts.
Yeah, but you. Well, I suppose I was just about to go. Well, that's fine. Like as long as it's not a fucking pair of male's testicles.
Well, that's cannibalism, innit? Is it cannibalism if it's not the meat of a human male?
Okay, well, if that's cannibalism, then
fingernails.
Then it's supposed to be something like this. If you're eating other testicles, there has to be another name than just going. Well, if you eat a man's testicles, you're a cannibal. If you eat other testicles, you are fine.
It worries me the thought of who was the first person to go? I'm gonna try one of those testicles.
Oh, some dirty bastard!
It's just what's going through your head that goes? Fuck it. I'll cut out a testicle. And I'll fry it up something.
Some weird sex game gone wrong. Just end up swallowing them by mistake. Oh, actually, they're quite nice. So, I mean, I don't have too many lines that I wouldn't cross. What about you? Is there anything you wouldn't eat on this idea?
There's a lot I wouldn't eat. I definitely wouldn't eat anything frog related. Heart.
Oh yeah, good point. I struggle with the thought of black pudding and haggis. I might struggle with that.
All that
I would
stuff, man. Like,
probably vomit.
I don't know. Like, there's something just foul about certain things like that. But then I'd struggle with like very basic stuff like fish. Like,
there's no hope. Struggle with fish, mate. I don't know if this is a good idea.
No, but like, do you know like mussels and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Would you chomp down? Well, it's not even chomping down. You're just sucking it.
You swallow it, don't you? Yeah, slides down your throat.
It's horrendous. Why would anyone want that? Like,
I don't know.
Where's the? What are you doing? Like, I'm getting very upset over this now. I'm moving away.
You are.
Gaz, what about you? Where would you draw the line?
See, I'd be the worst at this because I can't. There's so many foods that I can't eat because they just make me sick. So it's just like I'd be sick like every single time we do it. It's just like, yeah, try this. Okay, and just
There's used to be a messy episode.
Yeah. So yeah, I would not. I'd not be a good choice for this one.
Yeah,
that might make it more entertaining. As long as it doesn't harm you physically, I'd rather not kill you off.
Let's see how we can make Gaz sick this week.
all of us are there in the video wearing ponchos, all prepared.
Yes, but I'm up for it. I think we should definitely do it at some point.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got Thomas at LlamaFluff42 with another barrage of fantastic questions. So with Labo being such a tactile thing, should Nintendo seek better ways of promoting it? For example, demos in shopping centres, get it in schools, etc. So I know that they have recently done some demo in a shopping centre in London, but I think it's a great idea to promote it, but I just don't think the content is there. Like the like incorporating it into, is it Mario Galaxy and Mario Kart, stuff like that, and Mario, sorry,
Breath of the Wild.
Galaxy was a way back. Yeah, but like it's fine. But like these games, I just want to play with the controllers. I mean, so when I reviewed it, it was fine, but it was such a long process. And whereas like you build Lego, like the whole process of building is very cathartic with Lego. Yeah. Whereas with Labo, it's just so frustrating because you're following these instructions on screen and they're quite slow, and then you have to put down your cardboard to kind of scroll through to the next bit. I don't know, and it just kind of took it away from me. And the games that were included, like you play them once, you're like, oh yeah, that was cool. On to the next thing.
It's a tricky one because of like you putting the Labo into a demo in a shopping centre is like, should the demo not, like building the whole thing not be part of that demo?
Absolutely.
And that would just be very time consuming because, as you said, like the content, once it's done, it's probably pretty thin. I've yet to really still try it myself, but like putting it together is the demo, surely. And like, I don't know how
they could do it, because there's one part of the variety pack takes 10 minutes to build. And it's literally that little bug where you put the two Joy-Cons in the side of it and use the screen on the Switch to make them vibrate, and in turn it moves it along or turns it from side to side. And it's also got like infrared on and stuff like that. So, and then night vision. So there are ways to show that off quite easily. It's more like the piano and the fishing rod and stuff like that would take the time. But I think they could show off this little bug, like, because for kids, like one of the things they did was get us to decorate it. Like a room full of adults play with like what are those fuzzy pipe things called? Not penises, but like the pipe cleaner things where you could like mould them and stuff and whack them on as antennas, and there's like boggly eyes and stuff. Like they could do that kind of thing, but it's difficult trying to demo it. I just don't think the market's there for especially for the variety pack and the robot, because that robot in itself took me hours upon hours to build. And whilst it was satisfying when I'd done it, the game itself is just like, cool, that's it. If they use that in other games, that would be ace. But, I mean, the VR, I know Adam's been playing that, but I don't know. Did you get that? No, I didn't. I think there was an event, but we couldn't get to it, so I couldn't pick it up. Okay. So I think they sent one out. But, yeah, that's had some good feedback online, I've noticed. But again, Will it last? Don't know.
Yeah.
So a couple of fun questions. I like these hypothetical questions. At a God is a Geek party, who would be the one to drink the others under the table?
Not me.
Probably Nicola. I just think
I
she'd
don't
be a
drink,
goer.
so
Like,
it'd be a real struggle for me to drink anyone under the table.
Yeah, true. unless you like, we filled like everyone's up with like alcoholic beer and you're non-alcoholic, but they all thought you were drinking alcoholic, and then you look really cool because you'd just be not pissed at all, and they'd all be smashed. So you could win it that way. But I don't know. I've got a feeling Nicola would be pretty good.
That'd be actually. I think that would be quite an interesting video if we a Patreon video where we all just get in a room, we talk about games, and we booze. But we'll chop up the video, obviously, because like you can't just sit there for 6 hours and watch us all drink. But like, and then you can see how the conversation goes and who's lasting and who's just sitting there looking at the camera.
I would love that. I would absolutely love to do that as a one-off. Just get absolutely smashed. And it'd be funny because that editing job for Adam afterwards would be horrendous. God knows what we're going to say in that podcast. Jeez, but yeah, no, that'd be amazing. And final question of the podcast: if the God is a Geek team were held captive in a warehouse full of stuff, which members of the team would possess the skills to build your escape plan, A-team style, could you build a car from some tape, a banana skin, and some spoons like Murdoch and Co?
I would be useless.
Same.
I used to be quite good at building stuff when I was a kid, but that just went away. So,
what sort of stuff did you build?
I mean, it was stuff out of like Lego and that, so it's not quite the same. But
I thought you meant how about a car?
Yeah,
out of cardboard and
I used to, but it was like building like proper stuff.
Do you have a car
in a warehouse and guess?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, if you could put me,
Death Star.
Yeah, put me in a if we're in a warehouse full of Lego, sorted.
We'd boss it.
But
I built a pretty good train in woodwork when I was in secondary school. Like I was pretty good at that. Not that would come in handy.
Were you?
Yeah, but
I was tragic at woodwork.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with that. It was like a train for babies.
Do you know who would be a bad shout for this? I think I would say Mick. Mick Fraser would be not a bad man for this, I'd say.
Oh yeah, he's the type of guy that if you landed in the jungle and like the plane crashed, he'd be like the John Locke. He'd be the one left standing. I just feel like he'd be like survival instincts and kick in, and he'd be like full on leader. Yeah. If I was going down with anyone.
He probably wouldn't need to build anything. He'd just run through a wall as well. He'd be like,
yeah.
fucking job, Nick.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah. I think we'll put Mick forward for that one, to be fair. I reckon he'd be pretty decent at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's your podcast, guys. Well, I'm going to do it. But Patreon. We do... I feel like we do this every week, and I say the same thing every week, but like the whole point of it is to keep this website running, because anyone can put some reviews on a website, but it's kind of the technology we need to do the podcast, to travel, to edit the videos and stuff. That's all been funded by you guys. It's something you don't see as readers and viewers and stuff, but it helps us a hell of a lot. Not just to get to events, but for every kind of facet of this website. It's kind of the heart of what keeps this thing going. So it is massively appreciated whenever we get someone subscribes, and we do reward you with as best we can with first look videos, code giveaways. All sorts of stuff, like articles that you get and no one else does. So we do try to keep you guys in the loop more so than others, and we've not done it for a while, but we are getting back the podcasts like for Patreons and stuff like that. There are a few ideas knocking about which we want to do, but you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month, and you can do that at patreon.com/God is a Geek. On Twitter, you can follow us all. I'm at First Avenger Fury83, Gary's at Blue Fury47, and Adam is at Adam Zokes. Gents, it's been a pleasure once again.
Likewise.
Always.
Awesome. And thank you all for listening. Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.